What's up everybody, Scoob from Dirt Soldiers MX. Hey, today I want to give you this video and teach you 2 fundamental techniques you must master to become a better motocross rider, to take your motocross riding to the next level, to up the ante in your game, to become a better rider. These are the 2 fundamental motocross techniques all beginners and amateurs must master to becoming a great motocross racer. These 2 fundamental techniques are the most important aspect to your motorcycle racing. Even if you're brand new to this sport, or you're just throwing your leg over the bike for the first time, these 2 techniques are the foundation that will take amateur riders to a whole new level, and new riders the base you need to build upon and build out from here. To learn to ride the motorcycle correctly, some of the benefits of these techniques are safer, more speed, more control of the motorcycle. You get the flow, become one with the bike, easy to ride. You don't get tired as easy. Where you can make big mistakes. So there's a lot of benefits to these techniques, and these techniques are the foundation. If you never master these techniques, you will never ride to your full potential. All situations like corners, whoops, jumps, ruts, all motocross, and even just basic trail riding without even being on this motocross track you see Chad Reed on here, start with these 2 fundamental techniques. This is where it all starts. What are these techniques? They're body position and center, which is center of balance, and the master of the 5 controls. Picture Reed here. Here's the 5 controls: clutch, front brake 2, throttle 3, rear brake 4, shifter 5. Center of balance on this bike finds the center of balance and the master of these 5 controls. This is where it all starts from. This is the foundation. This is just like you probably heard before, building a house. You build a house, you start with the foundation. That's the base of it, and then you build up from there. If you don't build the foundation, everything else is going to crumble. It's not going to be very sturdy, it's not going to be very strong, and it's going to fall apart on you. Well, it's the same here. This is the foundation. Center of balance, the attack position they also call it, and the master of these 5 controls. So what I want to do is, I got a picture here of Reed, and I'm going to go over the center of balance with you today and show you exactly what you need to do to find the center of balance on this bike. And once you get that, you need to run through drills. The best thing you could do is get on a bike stand, and everything I show you today, go through this on a bike stand, on a stationary stand, not even out on the track, just to get, because what you need to do here is you need to make this become part of your natural reaction, part of what I like to call your DNA. It just becomes engraved in you. And the only way to do that is to really take these drills either on a stand, or if you're at a practice track, slow it way down, and just start to really think about mastering all these things I'm going to show you, because the more you do it, repetition, it's just going to become a natural reaction for you. It's going to become engraved in your DNA. That's the pros. Guys like Chad Reed, Ricky Carmichael, Stewart, all these guys, this is just natural to them. They've done this so much that it's just get on a bike and this happens just instantly. They don't have to think about it. It's kind of like an analogy I could give you. It's kind of like driving a car. When you, like, say if you ever learned to drive a stick shift, well, it was hard at first. You can't pick it right up. You don't pick it right up. But think about now, after years of driving. If you're older now or whatever, after years of driving, now you drive talking on the phone, eating a sandwich, looking in the rearview mirror. It's the same concept. It's the same idea. The more you practice this, practice, the better you become at it. The more it becomes second nature to you. The more it becomes engraved in your DNA, and you're able to just become one with it. And that's the key. You want to become one with this bike. You and the bike want to become one. You don't want to be in bad body positions, out of center of balance, doing the wrong things, because it's going to make you more tired. It's not going to make you safe. You're not going to flow. You're not going to become one with a bike. This track, I like to call it, this is an art. To me, this motocross thing is an art form. You and the bike are the paintbrush, and this is your canvas right here, this motocross track. And once you get this down, once you get this stuff mastered, and this is where it starts, with this center of balance and this master of these 5 controls. Once you have this down and mastered, oh, what a feeling. The flow, become the one with this bike, it's just feels so good, and you just have great days at the track. But you got to build the foundation, and you got to take your time, slow it down, and do drills with this, and let this become. This is very important. This is very important. If you keep going out there to the track and just going back to your old speed with your bad habits, you're never going to learn the correct way, and you'll never get to your full potential. So I'm going to run over this. We've got 2 more videos coming for you. They're going to talk about, the next one's going to be more on center of balance. There's two ways here to do this. There's standing, as you see Chad Reed here, standing attack position, and the seated attack position, which is done in most corners. And there's also the master of these 5 controls. So all you need to do to get the rest of these videos, on the right here, just give me your name and email, and these videos will be coming to you. You'll get the rest of the video in this 3-part series. And I'm going to be making more. There's going to be a whole line of videos in this series, but I want to teach you the base first, get you the base down, and then you can work from there. And this is what you need to learn before you even go into corners, whoops, jumps, uphills, downhills, ruts, the whole 9 yards. This is what the base, the foundation you need to build. So we got a picture of Chad Reed here. Well, let me tell you something real quick before we get into it. Bring up another picture here. Let me give you a little story of me. This is me. This is my arch enemy here, number 7. This is a place in Huntington, down in Huntington, PA. This is a track called Panther Hollow. This was probably, I'm going to say almost 10 years ago now. But this guy, he still always give me trouble. But if you don't know me, if you never met me before, it's the first time seeing this, just to give you a little bit of my background. I raced since I've been 6, 7 years old, 5, somewhere in there. Can't quite remember, but I started early, and I was definitely not a natural. Definitely wasn't one of the guys, you know, that throws a leg over a bike and it just becomes second nature to them. It just automatically, they do the right things. You know, I've studied these guys like crazy, and I watch things like crazy, and it was just my thing. I always went to the track, and I always watched the pros. I watched every little detail they did, every little thing they did, and I just studied because I just wanted to become good at this sport. And eventually I did work my way up. You know, I went from C up to B, up into A class, and raced professionally, won some District 5 state championships. And I learned all these techniques, but I learned them the hard way. I learned them by really taking, kind of the long road. I didn't really have nobody showing me, no one teaching me. And there was no, at the time, I couldn't afford the schools. I ended up going to school later down the road, but I already kind of taught this stuff to myself. But I understand your frustrations. I really do. If you're going through it right now and this thing's not really coming to you, if you're finding it hard and you're not getting corners down, your whoops and stuff like that, I completely understand that. And that's why I'm here to help you. That's why I'm here to show you the ropes here, so to speak, and build this foundation, because I want to see you pick this up in the quickest way possible. It took me years to get to that point, many years, and I just read everything and studied everything, and I picked up, and now I like to give back to help you guys pick it up a little bit quicker and find the flow, the art form of this sport. Because I say this sport is it's addicting. I mean, once you get it, you either get it or you don't. Once you get it, if you get it, man, it sucks in, and it's I call it a soul thing. It becomes part of your soul. It's hard to ever let it go. I'm 40 years old, and I still haven't letting it go yet, and I don't plan on it anytime soon because I love it. But anyhow, that's me there, 754. That's racing like 9-10 years ago. Real quick, you can see I got a finger on the brake there. This is going to come in master the controls, finger on the clutch. That's a good thing. So we'll get into that in this video coming up, like 2 more videos later. But that's my background. I just busted my butt, made it up, and now I want to give back to you guys. I understand your struggles, and I'm here to make you get as quick, safe, fast, flow, become one with the bike as quick as possible. And that's my goal for you, and I hope that happens. So let's go back to Reed. Here we go. Now let's get into this. Center of balance. Okay, the first thing you want to do in center of balance is you want to center your head over the handlebar mounts. So if you're getting on a bike stand right now, if you're doing this with me, or if not, this is the number one thing you want to do. You want to center your head over the handlebar mounts. That positions your body in the right position, in the center of balance on this bike. Not in front of the pivot point or not behind the pivot point. There's a pivot point to the front of this bike, which will drop the front, and a pivot point to the back. You want to put that head straight over the handlebar mounts. Number 2, you want to get your knee joint right above your ankle joint. So when you get on this bike, you want to make sure your center of the head and your knee joint is right above your ankle joint. Number 3, you want square shoulders. You want your shoulders nice and square. You don't want you be dipping your shoulders down. You don't want you want them facing where you're going, facing straight ahead on the track. Wherever you're going, even if you're in corners, the shoulders face where they go, and you want to move laterally with the bike. You want to keep this upper body nice and loose. real nice and loose. You carry no weight up here in the arms or in the shoulders, down in the handlebars. This is the highest pivot point on this bike. And you know what happens when you carry weight in these arms. Arm pumps, you get tired, you get out of this correct body position. So you want to carry all your weight in the lower legs down into here, down in the lower legs to lower the center of gravity of this bike. The key here is to lower the center of gravity of this bike to make these wheels stick better into the ground and have more control over the bike. So keep the shoulders nice and square, always facing where you're going. Back to the head real quick. Also, look far ahead. Look to where you want to go. Look from point A to point B. No, you don't want to be looking down at your front tire in what they call a 2-foot box down here. You won't be ready for what's coming up. So you always want to look to where you're going. Number 4, you want a finger on the clutch, preferably 1 or 2 on the clutch. I usually run 2, and you want a finger or 2 on the front brake. I prefer 1 because this is your throttle hand, and you are controlling your throttle. So I usually ran 1. But this is crucial here. This is where you find your power. This is where you get your power out of the clutch, and this is where most of your braking's done. We're going to get into this in videos down the road on the Master the 5 controls, but for right now, just if you're on the stand doing a drill or if you're getting out to practice, you want to remember, always have a finger on the clutch and a finger on the brake. Another thing you can do is to help let's go to number 5. You want your elbows nice and high. This creates leverage between the bike. As this bike's coming through the track here, coming into a rut back here, movement, you have leverage. You can move around on this bike laterally through the shoulders and through your elbows to move this bike and adjust for better control. So you want your outside elbows up on number 5. A way to get that outside elbow up is to over grip this throttle. Now if this is new to you and you don't do this now, this is going to feel weird, because if you're riding just with a straight on grip and you go to this over grip, it's going to feel a little funny to you. So it's something you want to get out there into a field and slow down and practice. But what this does is it gives you more control of this throttle, and it also actually helps you get this elbow up, to keep that elbow up. I'll see guys that I train and I help that have this straight on grip, and their elbows instantly go down into here. That you don't have as much leverage when your elbow's here to move this bike around. So you want to over grip. If you're watching this video and you can put your hand straight out, put your hand straight out. Now roll your throttle hand, your right hand over, and watch how your elbow goes straight up. That's how you want to hold that throttle. You want to over grip that throttle. Like I said, that's going to feel a little funny to you if you've never done that, so take your time to practice that. Number 6, you want your knees tight against this bike. You want your knees always tight against the seat or the shrouds. If you're moving forward a little bit, you always want these knees tight against this bike. This creates a loose feeling, and you lose control when the knees aren't tight. I see a lot of guys doing this. They let these knees just loose, and what happens there is when you loosen these knees up, you don't have as much control on this bike. It's obvious. If you keep these knees tight against this bike, you're going to be able to control, use what Ryan Hughes says, unlock your hips. If you ever listen to any of his teachings, and what that means is you want to keep these hips, like your shoulders lateral, you want to keep these hips nice and loose so you can adjust on the bike, but you want to keep these knees tight up against the bike so you gain control. You can move it around a little bit by applying pressure on your seats. When you move from this position back or forward, you want to pivot, slide along the seat with your knees. Always keep your knees tight. Move forward, slide, pivot with your knees up, slide back. If you're going to go back, slide along the seats with your knees tight. This is huge and something big, and you want to try to really get out there and practice this knees. I see a lot of guys keep these knees loose, and you lose a lot of control there. Okay, number 7 is ride on the balls of the feet. The front is the ball of the foot. The middle is the arch, and the back is the heel. You have a lot more control when you ride on the balls of your feet. There's a lot more you can do. What happens here also is this acts as another shock absorber. You got your front suspension here and your back. Well, your feet through these foot pegs actually act as shock absorbers also, and you find control through here when you're riding the balls of the feet. Now, if you're coming off like a big jump and you want to kind of go up into the arches for the big landing, but you always want to come back to the balls of your feet. So no matter what situation you're in, you always want to try to get yourself back. If you're out there practicing and you find yourself like in your arches or back towards your heel, make a conscious note of it to get up to the balls of your feet. You get much more control riding on the balls of your feet. And remember, to go back to this, carry the weight down through your legs. You want to keep this upper body completely loose, and you want to carry all your weight down into your legs and down into these foot pegs. Like I said, it lowers the center of gravity on this bike, and you get more control. So keep the weight in the lower part of the body down into the foot pegs. Okay, this is that's the basics of the foundation of the attack position, center of balance, and what you need to do in a standing center of balance attack position. So 2 more videos to come. I'm going to go over what you need to do in seated attack position, center of balance. We're going to get a little more in depth in that, and then we're going to go into the master these 5 controls. Like I said earlier, once you get this foundation built and you do this right here, everything else in motocross becomes a whole heck of a lot easier. You become much safer, more speed, flow. You become one with this bike. But these are things you need to get out there and practice. If you're out there now on the track and you're flying and you're not doing some of these things correct, balls of the feet, knees tight, hands on the the levers, the clutch and the brake, elbows up, looking far ahead, keeping the weight in the lower body, knees tight, shoulders squared and where you're going. If you're not doing these, you want to make a mental note of this and slow it down. Slow it down out there in the track. Even if your buddies are flying, get out there, slow it down, take your time, because what happens is it's going to become a natural reaction to you, and you're going to make mental notes of it. You know what's going to happen. It ain't going to be long. Your buddy who's not doing this stuff, you're going to be smoking them in no time. Plus, you're going to up the ante in your races, become better. And this is the foundation, like I said, of everything. When we get into whoops, corners, and all that, this needs to be built first. This foundation, the center of balance, and this master these 5 controls. So that's my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. More to come. Put your name over there to the right, over here to the right, and you'll get the rest of these videos in this series. All right, have a good one. Talk to you soon.